Your energy is the most valuable currency you will ever possess. It is more important than time, more powerful than money, and more essential than knowledge. Because energy is what fuels everything you do. It determines how you think, how you feel, how you act, and how you create. Without energy, you are stuck. With it, you can climb mountains. But the problem is that most people don't realize how easily their energy is being stolen, drained, or wasted. They treat their energy like it's unlimited, giving it away freely to people, problems, and situations that do not deserve it. Every time you complain to someone who doesn't care, you make a withdrawal. Every time you explain yourself to someone who will never understand, you make a withdrawal. Every time you share your pain hoping for validation but receive only empty words, you make a withdrawal. And over time, those small leaks add up. Suddenly you feel exhausted or drained, confused. You don't know why you can't think clearly or move forward. It's because your energy has been scattered in too many directions. There is a silent war happening every day. One that is not fought with weapons, but with distractions, emotions, and attention. And the battlefield is your mind. You have to understand that not every battle is worth fighting. Not every invitation to speak, to explain, to vent, to react deserves your participation. Your energy must be guarded like treasure. Because it is the root of your clarity. It is the source of your discipline. It is the foundation of your confidence. When your energy is high, you walk with purpose. You think with precision. You move with courage. But when your energy is low, you hesitate. You second guess. You doubt yourself. Protecting your energy is not optional. It is survival. Many people live in a cycle of emotional poverty because they keep handing their power to others. They talk about their problems constantly, thinking it will bring relief. But what it really brings is more focus on the problem, more mental fatigue, and more emotional chaos. Speaking your struggles out loud to the wrong people doesn't heal you. It traps you. It keeps you locked in a loop of victimhood where you relive your pain over and over again. Healing requires attention, but not attention from the world, attention from within. The more you expose your inner battles, the more power you give to things that should have died in silence. You must start treating your energy like sacred currency. Just like you wouldn't hand your bank account to a stranger, you shouldn't hand your emotional energy to people who haven't earned your trust. Not everyone needs to know what you're going through. Not everyone is equipped to help you. In fact, many will secretly feel empowered when you are weak. Some will use your openness to feed their ego or spread your pain further. That's the reality. Your pain, when shared carelessly, becomes entertainment or gossip for others. But when kept private, it becomes fuel for transformation. There is no shame in protecting your space. There is no guilt in choosing to be quiet. Silence is not weakness. It is strength. It means you are choosing to heal internally before you speak externally. It means you are choosing to regain your focus instead of losing yourself in noise. It means you are valuing your energy so much that you will no longer allow it to be wasted on empty conversations or draining relationships. Your energy is everything. And once it's gone, no amount of motivation, talent, or opportunity can save you. So protect it, guard it. Feed it with solitude, clarity, discipline, and peace. Because when your energy is full, you can handle anything. But when it's empty, even the smallest challenge can break you. Energy is not just a tool, it is your foundation. Treat it like your life depends on it, because it does. Most people believe that sharing everything with everyone is a form of honesty or openness. But what they don't realize is that this habit quietly erodes their personal power. Not everyone is worthy of your truth. Not everyone is ready to handle your depth. The mistake many people make is assuming that others will treat their words with care, respect, or confidentiality. But the harsh reality is, many people are not listening to help. They're listening to compare, to judge, or to feel superior. And some are only listening so they can use your words as ammunition later. Every time you open up to someone who hasn't earned your trust, you give them access to your emotional vault. You allow them to walk into your inner world with dirty feet. That's not strength, that's exposure. And exposure without discernment always leads to regret. You must become highly selective with who you allow into your inner circle. Because energy doesn't just get drained, it gets stolen, misused, and manipulated when it's in the wrong hands. Some people are not healers, they are emotional thieves. They take your pain and wear it like armor to boost their own sense of worth. Others pretend to care but secretly enjoy watching you struggle. That's the truth most people don't want to admit. We live in a world where vulnerability is often encouraged, but not everyone is emotionally mature enough to receive it. When you share your problems with the wrong people, you not only lose energy, you lose control. You no longer own the narrative. You've handed it over to someone else, and that's a dangerous place to be. It's time to raise your standards. Your truth is sacred. Your emotions are sacred. and not everyone deserves to witness your process. Start asking yourself, has this person earned the right to hear my struggle? Do they have the capacity to support me, or are they just curious about my downfall? Learn to protect your peace by protecting your privacy, because silence in the right moment is far more powerful than sharing with the wrong audience. There is a hidden cost to constantly talking about your problems. It's the erosion of your mental clarity. Every time you repeat your struggles, you breathe life back into them. You open the door to the same emotional storm and allow it to enter your mind again. It feels like a release at first, but what it really does is keep you stuck in the very thing you're trying to escape. The human brain cannot tell the difference between something vividly imagined and something actually happening. So when you retell painful stories, your mind experiences the same stress, the same pain, the same chaos all over again. This is not healing, it's reliving. And with every repetition, you feed the problem and starve the solution. What you focus on becomes your reality. If your mind is constantly swimming in what went wrong, who hurt you, or how unfair life has been, you are feeding a mental pattern of weakness. That pattern turns into a habit. The habit turns into an identity. Soon, you don't just have problems, you become the person who is always struggling. And that identity will quietly destroy your ability to rise. This is why you have to develop the discipline to stop bleeding emotionally every time something goes wrong. You have to stop running to people as soon as you feel discomfort, not because you should suppress your feelings, but because you should learn how to process them without giving them power. Silence is a weapon when used correctly. Holding your emotions with grace is not avoidance, it is mastery. Your mind needs space to process, not noise to distract it. When you talk less and think more, you start to see the patterns behind your pain. You begin to understand that clarity is not found in noise, but in stillness. Your energy leaks when you speak carelessly. It drains when you give voice to every emotion. The greatest battles are not won by shouting, they are won by strategy. And in your own life, silence is the strategy that allows you to reclaim your power and focus it where it matters most, forward. Silence is often misunderstood. People think being silent means being passive, disconnected, or weak. But the truth is, silence is one of the greatest forms of strength. It's not about hiding your pain, it's about mastering it. It's about giving yourself the space to observe, to reflect, and to choose your response instead of reacting out of emotion. In silence, the mind slows down, the noise fades, and what's left is raw truth, the kind that speaks only when everything else quiets down. This is where true growth begins, not in the noise of venting, not in the chaos of external validation, but in the deep, still place within you where you meet your highest self. When you become comfortable with silence, you become dangerous in the best way, because now you don't need to explain yourself to anyone. You don't need to broadcast your wounds to prove that you're human. You no longer beg to be heard. You listen to yourself. That kind of self-awareness builds unshakable strength. You stop relying on others to regulate your emotions. You stop looking for outside solutions to inside problems. And most importantly, you stop leaking power through unnecessary conversations. Silence helps you build emotional armor. It strengthens your ability to think before you speak, to observe before you judge, and to respond only when it truly matters. In silence, you start to understand the value of your energy. You begin to see how much time and power you used to waste on meaningless explanations and emotional outbursts. You realize that the more you speak about your pain, the more you stay connected to it. But when you stay silent with purpose, you begin to break those ties. You begin to free yourself. Silence is not an empty space. It's a sacred space. It's where you rebuild, where you recover, where you rise. And once you realize that you can face your struggles without needing an audience, you become powerful beyond words. There is a critical difference between seeking support and seeking sympathy. One uplifts, the other weakens. When you speak of your problems too often, especially without intention, you unknowingly invite pity rather than power. Pity is not empowering. It keeps you locked in a mindset of helplessness. It encourages you to stay small, to feel like life is happening to you instead of through you. And when people see you only through the lens of your struggles, they stop expecting strength from you. They begin to see you as the problem, not the person rising above it. That's the risk you take when you constantly talk about your pain. You shape how others perceive you, and worse, you shape how you begin to see yourself. Your words create a narrative. If you constantly say, "I'm tired, I'm broken, I can't," your subconscious begins to believe that story. And once it becomes your identity, everything else in your life aligns with that version of you. Your decisions, your confidence, your energy, they all shrink to match the limits of your spoken weakness. But when you learn to hold your pain until it transforms into wisdom, you begin to speak with power instead of need. You begin to share from a place of healing, not from a need for rescue. And people respond to that energy differently. They stop seeing you as someone who needs saving and start respecting you as someone who overcame. It is not your job to make people feel sorry for you. It is your responsibility to show yourself that you are stronger than what tried to break you. Talking about your pain may bring temporary relief, but carrying your healing with quiet strength brings lasting power. You don't need to be loud to be seen. You don't need to be broken to be heard. Let your growth speak. Let your progress be your proof. People may forget the details of your struggle, but they will never forget how you carried yourself through it. Speak when your words build strength. Until then, let silence sharpen you. There comes a point in life where you must draw the line, not out of arrogance, but out of self-respect. That line is called a boundary. And without boundaries, your energy, your peace, and your purpose are all at risk. You are not cold for setting limits. You are not selfish for protecting your inner world. The people who truly care about you will understand when you choose to keep certain parts of your journey private. They will not guilt you for needing space, or they will not take offense when you decide to say less. Boundaries are not walls that shut people out. They are gates that protect what's sacred, and your emotional well-being is sacred. Every time you feel pressured to share your struggles just to maintain a connection, you are betraying your own healing. Every time you allow someone access to your mind who hasn't earned it, you are weakening the foundation of your personal power. You don't owe anyone your vulnerability. You don't owe explanations for why you're quiet, distant, or focused on yourself. Silence does not need to be justified. It needs to be honored. When you decide to protect your energy, it's not about shutting the world out. It's about filtering what comes in. Because once you allow chaos into your inner world, it spreads quickly. But when you become the guardian of your peace, you gain control over your path. Boundaries send a message. My energy is valuable, and not everyone has the right to drain it. They teach others how to treat you. They reinforce the fact that you are not available for gossip, pity, or meaningless conversations that go nowhere. And the more consistently you hold those boundaries, the stronger and more respected you become. People might not always like it, but they will learn to adjust to the standard you set. That standard should be high, because your life depends on the quality of energy you allow into it. Protect your space, defend your peace, and never apologize for refusing to let others dilute your strength. Everything you do, every thought you think, every goal you chase, it all flows from one invisible force, your energy. It's not just about how much you sleep or how well you eat. It's about what you allow into your mind. It's about what you dwell on, who you listen to, and how you manage your inner space. Your energy shapes your focus shapes your actions, and your actions shape your destiny. If your energy is scattered, given away to gossip, negativity, drama, or self-doubt, you won't have anything left to invest in your growth. That's why so many people feel stuck. They are not lacking potential. They're leaking energy into things that don't move them forward. You must realize that protecting your energy is not a spiritual luxury. It's a mental necessity. You can't build anything meaningful if you're constantly exhausted from emotional noise. You can't create a future if your present is filled with confusion. Most people aren't failing because they lack ability. They're failing because they're overwhelmed. And that overwhelm doesn't come from doing too much. It comes from doing too much that doesn't matter. It comes from conversations that drain, environments that distract, and people who pull your focus away from your purpose. If you're not intentional about protecting your energy, you'll be drained before the real work even begins. Energy is not just something you use, it's something you invest. And just like money, if you invest it wisely, it compounds into results. But if you spend it recklessly, it disappears without a trace. Every time you give your emotional energy to complaints, overthinking, or unnecessary conflict, you are spending your most valuable resource with no return. But when you direct that same energy toward your vision, your growth, your healing, everything begins to change. You start to move with clarity. You begin to attract peace. You feel a strength that doesn't come from outside. It rises from within. That's the power of protected energy. It becomes the engine of transformation. Guard it like your future depends on it, because it does. True healing never begins in the spotlight. It begins in silence, in privacy, in solitude. It starts in those quiet moments when no one is watching, when the world has stopped asking, and you're finally left alone with the truth. The world teaches us to talk through our pain, to make it visible, to share it so we don't feel alone. But what it doesn't teach us is how to sit with ourselves when the noise fades. That's where the real transformation happens. Healing is not loud. It's not something you announce. It's not a conversation. It's a commitment to yourself, to rise beyond what tried to break you, not for attention, but for strength. There's something powerful that happens when you choose to process your pain privately. It builds a quiet confidence, a strength that doesn't need applause. You stop looking for someone to fix you. You stop searching for a listener to validate what you're feeling, and you begin to realize that your greatest breakthroughs come when you stop chasing comfort and start embracing discipline. This is not about bottling things up. It's about becoming the type of person who no longer lets emotions control every reaction. When you heal in private, you give yourself the chance to fully understand what hurt you, why it hurt, and what it taught you. That kind of clarity is rare, and it only comes through inner work, not external attention. The more you keep telling the world about your wounds, the more you stay tethered to them. You're not giving yourself space to let go, you're constantly reviving the past. But when you go inward and work in silence, the pain begins to lose its grip. You take the power back, and when you finally speak, your words won't come from a place of pain, they'll come from a place of power. That's what makes you magnetic, that's what makes you wise. You're no longer reacting to life, you're shaping it. Healing in private doesn't mean you're alone. It means you're finally becoming whole from the inside out. The ability to control your emotions is one of the greatest skills you will ever master. Not because you're supposed to suppress what you feel, but because reacting to everything will drain you faster than any failure ever could. When you learn to hold back your immediate response, when you choose silence over impulse, you step into a different level of strength. Most people are quick to speak, quick to explain, quick to defend. But real power is found in the pause. In that space between what happens and how you respond lies your freedom. Freedom to choose growth over chaos. Freedom to move forward without getting caught in the trap of emotional battles. People who can't control their emotions are easy to manipulate. They reveal too much too soon. Or they give away their pressure points to anyone who pushes the right button. But when you control your emotional output, you become unreadable in the best way, calm in the storm, focused in the noise. You don't flinch when things go wrong, you think. You don't react to every insult, you analyze. That doesn't make you cold, it makes you disciplined. And discipline is the foundation of all success. You can't build anything meaningful if you're constantly ruled by every passing feeling. Your emotions are not the enemy, but they are not the guide either. They're messengers. And once they've delivered the message, it's your job to decide what to do with it. You don't need to announce every thought. You don't need to explain every emotion. That's how you conserve your energy. That's how you keep your inner fire burning for what matters. Emotional control is not about being numb. It's about being wise, about knowing when to speak and when silence is your sharpest weapon. The stronger you become inside, the less you'll need to prove anything outside. And that is real power. Quiet, focused, and immovable. Every interaction you have teaches people how to treat you. When you freely share your struggles and invite constant sympathy, you teach others that you are available for emotional exhaustion. You teach them that your energy is unlimited, that you can be leaned on whenever they want. This isn't a sign of weakness alone. It's a lesson to the world about your limits. People begin to expect less from you, not because they want to hurt you, but because you've set the standard yourself. On the other hand, when you guard your energy and show strength in silence, you send a different message. You teach people that you are not to be taken lightly. You become someone who commands respect simply because they respect themselves first. This concept is hard to accept because it feels vulnerable to keep things private. It feels like hiding or holding back. But in truth, you are holding something far more powerful, your own stability. When you teach others that your emotional state is not their playground, they start to treat you with the care and seriousness you deserve. It's not about arrogance or isolation. It's about self-worth. You don't owe anyone your explanations. You don't owe anyone your brokenness. You owe yourself peace, clarity, and protection. And by honoring yourself first, you set a higher bar for every relationship, every conversation, and every connection. It's important to remember that boundaries are lessons in self-love. When you stop oversharing and start choosing who hears your truth, you create an environment where only those who truly support your growth remain. Those people will uplift, encourage, and respect your process. The rest will naturally fall away. And that's a sign of progress, not failure. You don't need everyone to understand your journey. You only need yourself to understand it well enough to protect your energy fiercely. Teach others how to treat you by showing them how much you value your own peace. That is the foundation of powerful, lasting respect. Your voice is a powerful tool, but it is also a limited resource. Every word you speak sends energy into the world and creates ripples that shape your reality. When you choose to speak only about what builds you up, your goals, your vision, your progress, you conserve your strength and direct it toward what truly matters. But when you fill your voice with complaints, doubts, or repeated stories of pain, you scatter your energy and reinforce the very obstacles you want to overcome. The voice is a manifestation of your inner state. If your words are filled with negativity, your environment will reflect it. If your words are filled with purpose, your environment will change accordingly. There is incredible power in restraint. Sometimes the most impactful thing you can do is say nothing at all. Silence can be louder than words because it shows control, discipline, and confidence. It signals that you are not desperate for validation or approval. It signals that you are choosing peace over chaos, action over reaction. Being selective with your voice means you only share when it adds value, when it inspires, or when it moves you closer to your goals. It means refusing to waste your energy on meaningless explanations or airing your struggles to those who cannot help. This kind of selective communication creates a powerful aura of mystery and strength around you. Learn to treat your voice like a precious resource. Guard it as you would guard your energy, your time, and your focus. Speak life, speak growth, speak vision, or don't speak at all. Every word you release is either a deposit into your future or a withdrawal from your potential. When you understand this, you become intentional with your expression. You begin to create a life that matches the energy of your words. Your voice becomes a tool of manifestation, not destruction. And in this way, protecting your energy means protecting your voice, the most direct extension of your inner power. In the end, everything comes down to one undeniable truth. Your energy is all you have. It's the foundation beneath every thought, every action, every dream you pursue. Without it, motivation fades, creativity dies, hope disappears. You cannot give what you do not have. When your energy is depleted, no amount of talent, knowledge, or opportunity can carry you forward. That's why protecting your energy isn't just a good habit. It's a necessity for survival and success. You must guard it fiercely like the most valuable treasure, because it is. Life will constantly test your boundaries. Challenges will demand your focus. People will want pieces of you that you aren't ready to give. And that's when your true strength shows. Not in how much you give, but in how wisely you protect your reserves. You will face pressure to explain, to justify, to share. Resist it, not because you're closed off, but because you know what's at stake. When you protect your energy, you protect your clarity, your peace, your future. You create the space needed for your mind to work clearly, your heart to heal deeply, and your spirit to rise fully. Remember, energy is a renewable resource, but only when treated with respect. Rest when you need to. Choose your company carefully. Speak with purpose. And most importantly, refuse to waste your energy on anything or anyone who does not uplift, support, or inspire you. This is your power. This is your responsibility. The moment you truly understand how precious your energy is, everything changes. You move differently. You think differently. You live differently. Protect your energy before it's drained, because it's not just about surviving, it's about thriving. And thriving starts with you guarding the most important thing you will ever own, your energy.